So they have used Vieques for practice for all of U.S. military operations everywhere, including Iraq, including Vietnam. And that means that every type of warfare that had been developed since 1941 and on had been used in Vieques, again, without the consent of the people. Um, Culebra successfully, the people resisted there and successfully ousted the Navy in 1975, which then added a higher concentration of, of this to Vieques in the years following that. And this is where my family is from in Puerto Rico. And so my father, my sister, a lot of my relatives lived with the bombings constantly, lived with the multiple types of violence that came from the U.S. military personnel during their off time in the community, which included sexual violence. They lived, we still to this day live with contamination. So depleted uranium, Agent Orange, napalm. There's a long, long list of things. 62 years in total, until the People's Resistance uh, stopped that in 2003. 2001, I believe, was when the agreement was made to end, and then 2003 was when everything ended. Uh, so I went to talk about the ongoing struggle for justice for Vieques as well as Culebra. Vieques currently has no hospital, which means that all of the cancer rates and all of the other illnesses associated with the contamination due to the military use, um, people are dying constantly. Children are dying constantly. We're born with birth defects, all these rare types of cancers, and have to rely on a very flawed and intentionally flawed ferry system to get to and from the bigger island of Puerto Rico to access healthcare because there has never been adequate healthcare on either of these two smaller islands. And then after the hurricanes, there has not been an effort to provide adequate healthcare, to rebuild the hospital, to help increase the quality of life and access to basically what is a human right for these people. And some of that comes from, for my people, I mean, and some of that comes from the punishment for having kicked out the Navy. So in the speech I gave, it was basically to update folks on how we're doing and to remind people that the struggle has not ended. We still deal with open detonation of unexploded ordnance. We're still polluted. We're still sick, and we're still living with the results of this. And we still need solidarity. We still need support. We still need people amplifying the struggle and um, helping us to not only hold the Puerto Rican government and U.S. government accountable and demand a proper response from them to value our lives, but also all the other countries in NATO that made up NATO during the years that we were a rent-a-range. So to also demand that the other countries whose ordinance is still with us um, also participate in the cleanup and, you know, offer some sort of reparation, contribute to the building of an adequate facility. Um, there have been various legal attempts to get the U.S. to it's called the Vieques Restoration and something else Act to provide compensation to the people who are continually harmed by this contamination and made sick. So that's why I went in addition to, you know, sh- giving my solidarity to others who are in similar struggle.